Hi, I'm Richard with the Data Success Team. Version 23.2 not only introduced changes to the desktop app that we've talked about in a different video, it also introduced some changes to the Portal app. These changes allow you to give your user a better user experience. The first one I want to talk about is that you now have the ability to customize the portal to better fit your needs for your company. So on the logon page, you can now add an image to the background of the logon page. The Dataedo icon right here in the middle, you can replace that with an icon from your company. The title, where it says sign in to Dataedo Portal, you can change that, replace it with the name of your company. And you can put a text box at the bottom of this page that gives information about your data catalog. Now, if we log in, on this home page, you can also make a couple of changes here. One is that you can add informational text and a title to this page. That goes at the top of the page above where it says Start from Search. And you can replace the Dataedo logo in the upper left-hand corner, the one that you click to take you back to the home page. You can replace that with the logo from your company. So let's look at how to do these. We go to Settings and choose System Settings. Right here, we now have this Customization tab. And here we have all of these choices of things that you can customize. Let's start with the ones down here towards the bottom that are about the logon page. So the first thing we can do on the logon page is we can give it some informational text. Grab some text and I will put it right there. And you can, this is, as you see, this is a rich text field, so you could, if you wanted, you can customize this. Let's make that bold. And now, as I mentioned, you can also give that page a title, and that's the very bottom right there. Let's grab some title and put it right there. Now, the background image that I mentioned, that goes right in here. And so you can click and browse for your image. There's one right there. And now I've got those things changed. Let's go ahead and save that. Go and look and see how that looks when we log in. If I go to the home page, now you can see I have the background image. I have the informational text with the bold on it. I have the title of the page, Wide World Importers. I did not change this icon yet for a reason, and I'll show you what that is when we log back in right now. So I'm going to log in, and notice we've also got this icon up here in the upper left-hand corner. Right now, those are the same, that Dataedo icon. If I go to my settings, right there, we have the ability to put in a custom logo. So we can drag and drop here. I'm just going to drag now and put that right there. That is the logo that I want to put. Now I mentioned you can make those different. So a different logo for the logon page right there. I click that and I can now drag a different logo there. So this one will go on the logon page. This one with the text on it will go on the home screen page. Now we can also put informational text on the home page. There is a title and some text we can put right there. Again, this is rich text, so if I wanted again to put that in bold, I can do that. Now we've got the changes made and we save them. Always be sure to save. Successful. And now if I go back to the home page, there we go. You can see there is the title and the informational text right there with the bold on it. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see that icon has changed. So clicking that takes you back to the home page. And just to verify, let's go log out, and you can see there is the other logo right there in that logon box. So you now have the ability to customize this portal experience for your business. The next thing to talk about is that permissioning has changed a little bit in the new web portal. To see this, let's go to Settings again, User Management. Now you will remember probably that we've always had the ability to add users, to add groups, and previously we could add roles right here. You no longer have that ability, and by extension you no longer have the ability to edit the permissions for roles. So these are preset, they come set up for you out of the box, and what exists here should deal with all of the situations that you will face, all of the different types of roles and permissioning that you need. If you have modified your roles and permissions previously, when you upgrade to version 23.2, those changes will be maintained. So you won't lose the roles and permissions that you have, but in the future you can't change those. The reason for this is simply to make your job easier. It's one less moving part that you need to worry about managing. As I say, these roles that are set up here in the permissions as they're set up should take care of all of the needs that you have. If they don't, please feel free to reach out to the success team, success@dataedo.com, and we can help you modify these directly. But as far as doing it right here in the user interface, you are limited now to the out-of-the-box roles and permissions. Next thing to look at is that we now have the ability to make some changes to glossary. You may recall that in glossary you have out of the box a specific set of term types or entity types, and these are categories, terms, KPIs, rules, and policies. I have added acronyms myself, so that is a custom type, but these others come out of the box. You now have the ability to add custom term types on your own. So to do this, we go to Settings and Data Catalog Settings. There's a tab right here for glossary entry types. And let's say that we want to add a new type. We click on Add Type, and let's give it a name of Wiki. And the list name on the tab will be called Articles. Like that. So this is a place where you could put informational articles for your users. More in-depth information than what they get in a simple definition. So we add that type. You can see it has been added right there. If we needed, we could edit that. We could delete if we end up not using it, and so on. If we now go to glossaries and click back in there, you see we now have an article tab right there. So that is where you would see any of those article entry types that you may create. And of course, if you wanted, you can use that Add Entry button right there to create that content. Of course, you do need to be an editor to do that. All right, the next change that I want to talk about has to do with searching. Let's go back to the home page. You're all familiar with the advanced search function right there. The actual search engine hasn't changed, so if we go in here, let's search for sales. This will search for names and titles. We can increase that to search other locations if we wanted. We can also refine that search, as you know, so we look at particular object types or data sources. We can refine and get better resolution of our search results. The change here happens over in the content pane. We previously had only the one tab for results, where all of the results were in a single list. We now have these separated out by object type. So all of the data sets where sales appears in the name or title, all of the columns where sales appears in the name or title, and so on. That allows you to more quickly find what you're looking for without the need to do so much work in the refining part of the search over here on the left side. It allows you easier access to the data and your search results. Along with that, we have another search option or search function, and that is the keyword function. You can see that right here in the center of the screen. Explore keywords. You can also get to that through the sidebar menu. We have keywords right there. If I click on that, here we have a list of keywords in descending order of frequency of use. So what this gives us is the keywords that it finds based on object names, column names, table names, glossary terms. It creates this list of keywords and tells us the incidence rate. For example, modified date right there, it's in 72 objects. Business entity ID is in 62 locations, and so on. So this gives us the ability to see the keywords. We create this list or recreate it if it already exists by clicking on this Run Indexing button down here in the lower left-hand corner. I'm not going to click it because I don't want to spend the time waiting for that to recalculate, but it gives you this list. Now, how do you use the list? You can explore by keyword. Let's go ahead and choose customer right there. Click on that. And we can see we're looking at the keyword customer. And there is one business glossary term for customer. So that is listed right there. We can click and jump to that if we wanted. Here we have the data assets where customer is in the name of it. And these will be reports and columns and data sets and table names, all of the places where those exist. Here's the columns, here are the tables. So we can jump directly to those again. The place this gets very interesting, though, is that we now can associate keywords with each other. So, for example, we have similar keywords. Open that back up. We have similar keywords, so you can see other things that are like customer. So we have customer category ID, bill to customer, customer name, lots of different options there. And it allows you to visually refine your search just by looking to see what's available right there. And below that, we have this occurs with option. So what else is associated with customer when we see it, for example, in a table? We have a table with a column called customer. What else is in that table? So we have categories and customer IDs and bill to customer. City key is an interesting one. So again, this allows you to look at connections and get more information about the data and what data exists, where to find it, and how the data is associated with other data types. The next change I want to talk about here in Portal has to do with viewing metadata. To look at this, let's go to our data sources. Right there, let's just choose a data source and open that. Now, you probably are familiar with the fact that when you click on objects over here in the repository explorer, that object will open in the content area. So for example, if I click on address, you see that person address table opens in the content pane and you can look at all of the information there. The change here is that if you click on something in the content pane, it does not replace what is currently in the content pane as it used to. What it does is it opens a preview pane. So let's click on state province and notice to the right it opened up this preview pane that is for state province ID, and it gives that information, the metadata about that column. If we chose a different column, it changes that in the preview pane. This allows you to see that right there. In the previous version, sometimes if you were digging into a table and looking at the various columns, you had to go back and forth multiple times from the table to the column to the table to the column to get all of the information you need. Now you can see it right there side by side. If you did need to go in and explore the table column in more detail, you could simply click on the name of it right there and it opens that in the content pane. So let's try that again. If I go to resources, for example, go to columns, and if I click on name, you open the preview panel. And if you want to go all the way to that table column, click on the name of that, which is name, and it opens that in the content pane. So it allows you to still get to it, but you don't have to go to it if all you want to do is have a quick view of that. The next thing I want to talk about is also right here in this same area, and that is you can view the history of changes. So what you do is as you move your mouse around, you will see this little clock icon appear. There it is for the title. Here it is for the description. And if you click on that, it will show you the history of changes that have been made, in this example, to the description. It originally had this description, and on November 1st, I used desktop to change that description to this text. So you can see that change as it happens over time. You can see that history. If you want to see the history for a column, you can open that and see it right there. There's that history. You can also, of course, open it all the way and see history of changes there. So the history of changes allows you to keep track of what has been changed, who changed it, when it was changed, and if necessary, you can always roll back or, just understand what is happening and who is working with your data assets over time. Okay, you probably noticed while we were working around here, this generate description button right there, or in another case, I've already got one generated. These are the AI supported documentation feature. We have another video on that that shows how to use that. But just very briefly, you set that up under settings, you go to system settings, LLM engines, and you use your own API key that you get yourself from OpenAI. You put that key in here, complete the rest of the required information there, and you add that. And you then have an engine that you can use when you get in. Let's go to data sources. When you get in here, you then have that engine that you can use to generate descriptions. So you can select which one. So all of that is explained better in another video. I just wanted to mention it while I'm right here. The final thing I want to talk about is this button up here in the upper right-hand corner. It says go to desktop, open this page in desktop. Now, I'm going to do that, but to show you that it's actually working, I'm going to go to desktop first. Right there, notice we're looking at the email address page, right there. Back to portal, click on this, we're on the person address table. And it is opening that in the desktop app, and you see there it is, the person address table. It opened that up for me there, so I can jump back and forth. This becomes very useful for your editors as they are working and making changes and want to see what it looks like in the portal or in the desktop back and forth. Now, to show that the reciprocal function also works, let's change this to the person table and use right there the Open in Dataedo Portal button. We go there, and you see there it is. We're now on that person table. So we now can go either direction very easily to make work between portal and desktop easier, faster, and more convenient. Now, to make that work, the one thing you have to do is you have to add the URL of your catalog right here. So on the basic tab right there, you have to add the URL of your portal location. So as soon as you put that in there, then that link will work going back and forth. So those are the changes I wanted to talk about in Dataedo Portal. There's a lot of exciting things here, and I think you will like them. As you work with them, if you have questions about how they work or if you have trouble, then Please feel free, as always, to reach out to us at success@dataedo.com, and we'll be happy to walk you through those. In the meantime, thanks for using Dataedo. We'll see you in the next video.